So this is day 2 of non-vlogmas here on my channel, and with this elderberry syrup, this is the first time I am making this. I do have one of my kiddos has a cough, and I thought this would be the perfect time to get this going. This little lady is incredibly tired right now, and she really needed a nap, but we just kind of missed that time frame, and now she's just kind of snuggling up. And I'm just gonna kind of rock her a little bit, and she actually did fall asleep shortly after this clip here, which was really sweet. It's very rare we get a contact nap during the day. But anyways, so this syrup. So this says about 5 minutes left. It was simmering for about 45 minutes. That's what Katie over at Rouse Rising said to do. She is where I got these elderberries. She is so incredibly sweet, and she wild forages these elderberries. She freeze dries them, and she does sell them to people if they would like. And so I bought 3 ounces. I really wanted to make this, and this is the recipe that she shared with me. So it does say in the recipe that she gave me to, once they're done simmering, to smash the berries, and my potato masher was just not doing the job. So I thought I would just use the bottom of a mason jar, and it actually worked pretty well. I wanted to keep the sound on this video, but I do have some things in the background that could be copyright, so I just decided to keep it quiet. But you can hear the crunching of the elderberries underneath the mason jar, and I thought that was pretty neat. She also said to strain it really well in like a fine mesh strainer. I don't have one of those, and so I just thought I'd use this cheesecloth. I do realize that it's going to stain this cheesecloth, and I don't really care, it's just color. But it worked really well to strain this out. And I used a couple different methods to get all this juice out of here. Obviously just initially letting it drain like this, like hang draining it, was really effective for the first little bit because it's really hot. And then I ended up taking a spoon to the side here and kind of squeezing it down into the bowl. That also worked, but obviously you can see that the bottom is sticking in the liquid a little bit, and so I had to elevate it a little bit. So I decided to, there's my son there poking, and he's the one that has a cough, and I'm making this specifically with him in mind, hoping that this will help ease his cough a little bit. But putting it in this mason jar and squeezing it down actually worked really well. You can see just putting some pressure on the side, I can still get a lot of the juices out of here. So adding that to the larger bowl, this is a decent amount of syrup. I'm actually quite impressed. I thought it was going to simmer down to like nothing. I was kind of worried I wasn't going to get a bunch, but it worked really well. And then we have the pulp here, which I just find that kind of interesting. I wasn't sure what to do with it, and because it does have some stems in it, so I ended up just putting it in my little compost bin, but maybe there's some ideas for that in the future. Next up is to add 1 cup of honey to this, and so I'm adding it while the mixture is still hot so that the honey will blend properly and kind of emulsify in there. This does seem like a lot of honey, but honey itself is incredibly healing and great for coughs and colds, and so it definitely makes sense to me that you would use a ton of honey in this. So as little lady's awake from her little nap, I had set her down for a little bit, but now she's back awake. And this, so it's melting in here. You can see that it's really thick right now, and that's the honey is still melting. But as it, fully emulsifies and settles in there, it really just became one with the elderberry syrup. And then I just pour it into this jar, and this is the mason jar. I'm just going to store this in the refrigerator. So once this completely cools, I will give some to my kids later on this evening, and then I will put it in the refrigerator and obviously label it so we know what it is. But Katie said to take, for kids, it's like 10 milliliters per, I think it's per day or per serving, I don't recall, for kids, and then it was 15 milliliters for adults. You can use this actively during colds, or you can use it as like a daily maintenance or preventative measure. It's just an incredibly healing little elixir here. So my kids are being super silly here, and like I said, I wanted to keep the volume on, but because of copyright, I didn't want to get anything flagged, and so I left the sound off, but they're just being super silly. And my son here, he's a little clumsy sometimes, so I was worried he was going to spill this all over. which is why I'm going to kind of kick him out of the way here in a second and make my daughter do it first. I definitely could have poured this in something else and not just a large spoon, because it doesn't have a large surface area to stay on the spoon. But anyways, they're just so silly. They make me laugh. So she was able to sip it off the side here. She has a bit more of a steady hand. And she said it was really good. It does taste like, she said it tastes like there's this honey that some of our family would get us from Montana, which is like, gosh, I can't even think of what it's called. Some sort of honey out there, and it was infused with a berry of some sort. I think it was just like wild berry honey maybe. And this actually kind of tasted like that, she said. And so she liked it. And here's this little goofball. He he does spill it a little bit on his hand, but it's no big deal. Like, luckily he's not on something like standing on a floor that can't be wiped up, and so I just wiped up the little dribbles here. But he liked it too. He said it was really sweet, and obviously it is. It has honey in it. Bless you. Say thank you to Katie.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so putting this in the fridge and calling it a day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey. You didn't let me have a popsicle.